My life in Egypt was one of predictable comfort. I was Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard, a man of influence and substance. My estate was vast, my household well ordered, and my wife, a woman of discerning taste, kept our home a testament to our status. We lacked for nothing. Yet, a quiet sense of emptiness often settled upon me. My days were filled with the affairs of state, the training of soldiers, the intricate dance of court politics. My wife, though elegant and refined, was often preoccupied with social obligations and the management of our domestic staff. We lived side by side, two ships passing in the night, our lives running parallel but rarely truly intersecting. Then Joseph arrived. He was a slave, a recent acquisition from the Ishmaelite traders. He was young, barely a man, with a quiet dignity that set him apart from the rougher stock we sometimes acquire. His skin was the color of sun-baked earth, his eyes a deep, intelligent brown. There was an aura about him, a stillness that hinted at a depth of character, rarely seen in those who had endured such hardship. I noticed him almost immediately. He didn't slouch or shuffle like the others. He moved with a purpose, his gaze direct and respectful. I instructed my steward to place him in charge of my personal affairs. It was a significant promotion for a slave, but I had a feeling about him. He wasn't just another body to fill a role. He was someone who could do. And do he did. Joseph transformed my household. He organized my storerooms with an efficiency I hadn't known was possible. My accounts, once a jumbled mess, became models of clarity. He managed the gardens, the livestock, even oversaw the other servants with a fairness and wisdom that surprised everyone. My wife was equally impressed. She found him handsome, of course, but it was his quiet competence that truly captivated her. She began to rely on him for more and more, entrusting him with the keys to the house, the management of her personal belongings, even the supervision of her maids.
It was this reliance that led to the incident.
Enjoyed the story so far? Please drop a like for this video and subscribe to the Gospel Buzz to encourage us to create more videos. Thank you.
I remember the day vividly. I had been away on assignment for Pharaoh, a tense negotiation with a rebellious border province. When I returned, weary and eager for the comfort of my home, I found a different atmosphere. My wife was distraught, her usual composure shattered. She accused Joseph of attempting to assault her. The accusation struck me like a physical blow. Joseph, the man who had brought such order and peace to my household, the young man whose integrity had seemed unassailable? How could this have happened? My wife's tears and her fervent insistence on his guilt left me with little room for doubt, or so I told myself. The shame of it, the scandal, was too much to bear. I was the captain of Pharaoh's guard. I had a reputation to uphold. Despite my personal reservations, I had to act. The law was clear. I had Joseph thrown into prison. The prison was a dark, dank place, a stark contrast to the light-filled halls of my estate. I visited him once, but he offered no defense, no protest. He simply accepted his fate with the same quiet dignity he displayed in all things. That, in a way, made it worse. It felt like a betrayal, a deep stain on my own judgment. Months turned into years. My wife and I lived in the shadow of that event. The emptiness I had felt before returned, now tinged with guilt and a gnawing unease. I tried to forget Joseph, to push the memory of his quiet competence and his unnerving integrity from my mind, but I couldn't. Then came the famine. It was a devastating blow to Egypt. The Nile, our lifeblood, failed to flood and the land turned to dust. Panic began to set in. Pharaoh was troubled, his advisors offering no solutions. It was then that the chief cupbearer, a man Joseph had befriended in prison, spoke up. He recounted Joseph's ability to interpret dreams, recalling how Joseph had correctly predicted the fates of both himself and the chief baker. Pharaoh, desperate for any glimmer of hope, summoned Joseph. I was present at that meeting.
Joseph, still a prisoner, was brought before the throne, his chains removed. He looked different, older perhaps,
but the same quiet strength radiated from him. Pharaoh explained his own troubling dream, a vision of fat cows and lean cows, of healthy ears of grain and withered stalks. Joseph listened intently, his gaze fixed on Pharaoh. Then, with a clarity that silenced the entire court, he interpreted the dream. 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine, and not just an interpretation, but a plan. He advised Pharaoh to store grain during the years of plenty, to build granaries and appoint a wise overseer. Pharaoh was astounded. He saw in Joseph not just an interpreter, but a leader. He asked, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom the Spirit of God dwells?" And in that moment, Pharaoh appointed Joseph as the second in command of all Egypt. My heart pounded in my chest. This was the slave I had imprisoned. I watched, a silent observer, as Joseph rose to power. He was magnificent. He oversaw the construction of the granaries, the meticulous collection and storage of grain. He was fair, efficient, and utterly dedicated to his task. When the famine finally arrived, Egypt was prepared. We had food, abundance even, while other lands starved. Then the inevitable happened. People from surrounding nations came to Egypt seeking grain. Among them were his own brothers, desperate for sustenance. They bowed before Joseph, not recognizing the man who had once been their brother, the one they had sold into slavery. I watched Joseph's reaction. He looked at them, his face unreadable. He questioned them, accused them of being spies, and demanded that they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, to prove their honesty. I saw the internal struggle within him, the years of resentment and pain warring with a deeper sense of compassion. When his brothers returned with Benjamin, Joseph could no longer contain himself.
He sent all Egyptians away and wept openly. He revealed himself to them, his voice thick with emotion. He spoke of the plan of God, how what they had meant for evil, God had used for good. He forgave them. I stood there, a spectator to a drama far grander than any I had witnessed in Pharaoh's court. I saw the man I had wronged, the man I had cast into darkness, now standing in the full light of God's providence, a beacon of hope and forgiveness for his family and for Egypt. My wife and I were summoned to Pharaoh's court to witness this reconciliation. We saw Joseph embrace his father Jacob, a reunion that had been years in the making. It was a moment of profound grace. After that, Joseph's family settled in Egypt, given the finest land. My own life returned to its familiar rhythm, but it was forever changed. The quiet emptiness was gone, replaced by a profound respect for the ways of God, a God who could take the broken pieces of a life, even a life I had helped to break, and forge them into something beautiful and strong. I never spoke of the incident with my wife again, but I carried the memory of Joseph, the slave who became a prince, as a constant reminder of the power of faith, forgiveness, and divine purpose. My own life, once so predictable, now held a new dimension, a quiet awe for the unfolding of God's grand design, a design in which even a simple captain of the guard played a small, unwitting part.